Imagine a high-tech security system that stays completely silent while a thief bypasses the sensors and walks right through the front door. By the time the alarms finally go off, the damage has already been done, and the intruder is inside. This is exactly how spiritual warfare operates. The enemy rarely shows up with a loud warning. He slips in quietly through your thoughts, habits, and daily routines. Many people spend years trying to fix their problems with physical solutions, completely unaware that the root cause is entirely spiritual. When you are targeted in the unseen realm, normal logic fails, and standard advice cannot help you push through the fog. If you feel like an invisible force is holding you back, it is time to wake up, look up, and recognize the real battle. Today, we are diving into 5 undeniable warning signs that you are under a spiritual attack, and more importantly, how you can reclaim your authority. We will explore how to identify these subtle shifts in your reality and look at the exact blueprint required to fight back. You are not a helpless bystander in this war. You are equipped to win, so let's break down the strategy. The first major warning sign is a heavy, suffocating cloud of anxiety or sadness that appears out of nowhere, even when everything in your life is perfectly fine on paper. You wake up drained, irritable, or deeply discouraged, yet you cannot pinpoint a single logical reason for why you feel this way. This unexplainable shift is often the enemy projecting his atmosphere onto your spirit, trying to get you to react to a problem that doesn't exist in the natural world. When this happens, your immediate instinct might be to look at your circumstances, blame your job, or stress over your finances, but a spiritual issue cannot be cured with a physical remedy. The scriptures remind us that our true battle is never against flesh and blood, but against spiritual forces operating behind the scenes. If you keep trying to solve an unseen attack with human logic, you will remain stuck in a cycle of frustration. The strategy here is to shift your perspective immediately from horizontal to vertical. Stop searching your surroundings for answers and start looking up. Recognize that the heaviness does not belong to you, and it did not originate from your own soul. The moment you identify this sudden emotional fog as a tactical distraction, you break its power and can begin to pray against it effectively. The second sign is a sudden, aggressive shift in your inner monologue, where your thoughts become darker, more cynical, and intensely critical. You start hearing subtle whispers like, "You will never succeed," "God has forgotten you," or "No one truly cares about you." The most dangerous part of this tactic is that the enemy formats these lies to sound exactly like your own voice, tricking you into believing they are your own authentic thoughts. This is a highly strategic move because the mind is the primary battlefield of human potential and faith. If the enemy can control your thoughts, he controls your direction. A discouraged mind leads to an ineffective life, which is exactly why the enemy targets your peace and confidence first. He wants to paralyze your potential by convincing you that your future is hopeless before you even try to step into it. To counter this, you must treat your mind like a gated community and actively audit every single thought that tries to enter. If a thought produces fear, condemnation, or deep despair, it did not come from God, and it does not belong in your head. Do not debate or argue with these toxic mental whispers. Instead, immediately reject them and consciously replace them with truth. The third critical sign is a powerful, almost overwhelming urge to isolate yourself from the people who love, support, and keep you grounded. You find yourself ignoring phone calls, skipping community gatherings, and convincing yourself that you simply need space to process things alone. While temporary rest is healthy, a prolonged desire to completely disappear from your community is a major red flag that an attack is underway. This is one of the oldest and most effective predatory tactics in existence. A wolf always tries to separate a single sheep from the flock before launching an attack. The enemy knows that an isolated individual is highly vulnerable because there is no one around to speak truth over them, offer perspective, or lift them up when they fall. When you are completely alone, the dark thoughts in your mind sound much louder and become much easier to believe. If you hear a persistent inner voice telling you to hide your struggles and don't talk to anyone, understand that this is a trap designed to keep you weak. True strength and healing are found in community, accountability, and shared vulnerability. When you feel the strong urge to pull away and hide, that is the exact moment you need to force yourself to reach out and connect. The fourth sign is sudden, unexplained physical exhaustion, or a wave of bodily weakness that hits you right when you are about to do something significant. You might find that your energy completely bottoms out right before an important meeting, a major life decision, or a moment where you plan to step into your purpose. Everything checks out medically, yet your body suddenly feels like it is running on absolute zero. While physical rest is essential, it is highly suspect when extreme fatigue consistently coordinates with your moments of personal and spiritual growth. The Bible shows instances where physical infirmities and limitations were directly linked to unseen spiritual blockages rather than biological issues. The enemy often uses physical burnout as a roadblock to make the journey ahead look too exhausting to pursue. When exhaustion attacks your body right as you are leveling up, you need to address it with prayer just as much as you do with rest. Recognize the timing of the fatigue and refuse to let it dictate your actions or cause you to cancel your plans. Push through the artificial resistance with focus, knowing that the friction you feel is proof that you are moving in the right direction. To successfully fight back against these attacks, your first step must be to close any open doors in your life through self-reflection and alignment. If you are harboring bitterness, unchecked anger, or toxic habits, you are essentially giving the enemy a legal foothold to disrupt your peace. True resistance begins with submission to a higher standard, closing those spiritual vulnerabilities and cutting off the enemy's access. Secondly, you must learn to vocalize truth and use words as a precise weapon against the lies in your mind. When Jesus was tested in the wilderness, he didn't just think positive thoughts, he spoke out loud, declaring truth to break the illusions of the enemy. Speak promises over your mind, your home, your family, and your future, shifting the atmosphere of your environment from fear to authority. Finally, remember that you are never fighting for victory, but rather from a position of victory that has already been established. The enemy is strategic, but his power is completely limited, and he cannot defeat a person who refuses to buy into his lies. Stand firm, stay connected to your community, protect your peace, and walk forward with the absolute confidence of a warrior.